Hello and welcome to Sincerely Elvis Presley. I'm Sean. Thanks for tuning in today. I really do appreciate it. It's getting on for 3 weeks since we did a Seal to Revealed, so I think it's about time we had another one. But this one's a little bit different. This one is a bona fide exclusive. The book that I'm going to open up in a second has so far only been seen by a small handful of people, so this really is a genuine world exclusive, if you like. And the book itself isn't actually available to purchase until tomorrow. So if you like what you see when we get this open, and I'm pretty sure you will, then you're going to have to wait until tomorrow before you can order yourselves a copy. But let's have a little look and see what we've got. Now, you'll have seen from the thumbnail what we've got. These are never a surprise once I put them on the thumbnail, but obviously we haven't seen it in the flesh and we haven't seen what's in it. So what we should have in here is very well glued. I don't think there's a tear strip. There we go. There is now. So what we have in here is Elvis UK Compact Volume 3, the ultimate guide to Elvis Presley's British CDs 1983 to 2005, which is the overriding title of all 3 volumes, of which this is Volume 3, by the Elvis UK team of John Townsend and Gordon Minto. Now, I'll put a link in the description. I did do an unboxing of Volume 2 when it came out, and a very, very fine volume it was indeed. So I'm expecting great things of this one as well. Now, full disclosure, John and Gordon were kind enough to send me out a copy to have a look at. So thank you very much, John and Gordon. I really appreciate that. But, you know, you guys know me and my reviews. If I always give an honest opinion. Now, I'm expecting to love this, and I'll tell you for why. This was originally, this and its companion 2 volumes were originally released as Elvis UK 3 as a digital flip book. And what John and Gordon managed to do is find a feasible way to publish physical copies, of which, you know, there was a high demand for. You know, a lot of us like a physical copy, don't we? So this being basically the third part of what was one book that's been split into 3, there's just no way I'm not going to love this. I love volumes 1 and 2, and this is not, you know, this is a continuation. So I know I'm going to love what I'm going to see in here, but I hope you will too. So as they say, without further ado, and a pile of other cliches that I'm not going to bother with, let's get it open. Now then, what's special about these books? Well, Elvis fans, you're going to be aware that there are multiple discographies of various descriptions on the market, and there have been across the years. But no one has ever attempted such a comprehensive overview of Elvis's CD releases. In fact, overview kind of does it a disservice. It's a lot more than an overview. But no one's attempted this before. You know, this is basically the Bible of Elvis CDs. Now, if you're tuning in from outside of the UK and thinking, well, I collect CDs from my region or other regions, and you know, I don't really collect UK ones, worry ye not, because really this is kind of interchangeable. Many of the releases in all 3 of these volumes were released internationally. Yes, there are some specific CDs, you know, that were solely UK, but in the main, you know, this is kind of a guide for everyone. So let's have a little look. You know, I think the other thing to really point out, and the thing that differentiates this from many a discography, is the level of context that the guys go into. So you don't just see a release, you don't just get a track listing, you don't just get a year, you don't just get a bit of a description of the CD, you get tons and tons of background. You know, they point out all sorts of errors, all sorts of things that were different things on repressings, things about labels, things about covers. The level, the deep dive that you go into for each one is astonishing. If you're an Elvis info nerd, if you're an Elvis music release nerd like me, and I'm proud to be, you'll love these. Anyone that's got the Elvis UK books knows exactly what I'm talking about, but I'm kind of now talking to the people that haven't. And there's something else coming up that I want to show you that, you know, may well persuade you that this is for you as well. So, you know, where should we start? I'm just going to give you a flip through. I'm not going to go into detail, and there's a good reason for that, which I will explain a little bit later. But if you let's just take one. Okay, so we've got the Rubbernecking single here, the Paul Oakenfold remix that was released in 2003. Now this is a CD single we're talking about, and if you want an illustration of the level of detail and insight and context I'm talking about, there's a page of information there on one CD single. It really is quite astonishing what you learn and the information you get. And I said, it's not just this is this release. You get a whole lot of context surrounding it. These, I believe, would be the 18 number ones that came out in that very strange period where people were queuing up outside music stores to get the limited edition CDs before the store opened, which was strange. What else have we got? And this one being as this is volume 3, so this is the tail end of the actual full volume. You get various artist CDs as well that Elvis appeared on, and all sorts of information and context on there on this one. So, you know, it is just a fantastic resource. But it's not one of those dry resources that you're just going to refer through from time to time. It's very readable. There are some light-hearted observations and reflections within it. So, you know, I think you probably get the impression from what I'm saying that I recommend it, and I do, in a very big way. And as I say, that has nothing to do with the fact that John and Gordon were kind enough to send me a copy, because if you look back at the unboxing I did of the second volume of this, you'll see that I gave it equally high praise. So, you know, I love this. I remember that Rockin' Tonight, that I remember getting that from a sort of cheap supermarket typey discounty place. So it's great, the things you see. It really has got everything in it. There is no comparable guide to Elvis on CD. There just isn't. You get all the reissues, all the different press-ins. Like I said, if there's errors, if there's they put the wrong track on and mislabeled it, in the running order, you'll get it all in here. It's fantastic. As I say, if you're an Elvis UK convert, then you're probably eagerly awaiting tomorrow when this goes live on the Elvis UK site, which incidentally I will put a link to in the description of this as well. But if you're not, and you're only just coming across these, and you've got any interest in Elvis on the CD format, I'd say, you know, not only treat yourself to this one, but treat yourself to one or two. Now, if you look at the, so we've, yeah, the paging actually runs through as if it's one big volume. So if you get all 3 volumes of these books, you've got 1,408 pages split into 3 volumes. Absolutely stunning. It really is like, you know, the Elvis CD, encyclopedia, Bible, call it what you will. Really, really nicely produced. So you can feel that it's a quality item. Each volume will set you back £50 each. And when you compare this to anything else of its size and what it offers, I think that's fantastic value for money. So yeah, I cannot recommend the Elvis UK books high enough. Now, there is something else. When this was originally released as Elvis UK as a digital flip book, if you purchased that, you got yourself a CD with it. Now, this CD is an absolute rarity and an exclusive. There have been only I think it's in the low hundreds of these produced. Once the stocks are gone, they won't be produced again. You cannot get it anywhere else. Money cannot buy it. The only way you get it now is if you buy all 3 volumes of the compact book. If you buy all 3 volumes, this becomes yours for free for Grazzo. So it's, you know, where else are you going to get a complete and utter genuine limited edition like this? Now, it's not just a CD of songs thrown together with no rhyme or reason. The eagle-eyed among you will see in the corner a replica of the gold cover of the 3 CD box, Elvis the Legend, the very first Elvis release on CD from 1983. Now, the concept of this CD is to go beyond the legend, see what they did there, and provide tracks that weren't on that original release, but tracks that did chart here in the UK. So I will give you a track list, but first of all, I'm going to try and get the shrink off so that we don't get as much glare when I do that, because I've seen there's quite a bit going on. Am I going to be able to get into it? I think we've had some success. So as I say, you know, if you've got a real interest in Elvis on CD, you've got a big CD collection, or not necessarily a big CD collection, or you're in the process of building a collection, whatever it will be, not only are these books going to be invaluable to you, but you're going to add to that CD collection with, as I say, something that money cannot buy. This will only come to you with the purchase of all 3 volumes of Elvis Compact. So there's your track listing. And as I say, these are tracks that charted in the UK but didn't feature on the original Elvis the Legend. So John and Gordon have chosen this track list very carefully, put it together. You get a little piece in there which tells you about the original release. There's your CD, but not only that, you get liner notes as well. And who better to write liner notes than these guys, really? Who knows their stuff more than them? So, you know, if you're a die-hard Elvis collector and you haven't come across these before, it's a bit of a no-brainer, really, isn't it? Because, like I say, you're not going to get this anywhere else. So where else are you going to get yourself an exclusive Elvis CD? And as it says on the back, promotional copy, not for sale. Now, a lot of times that's a load of old rubbish, especially with the bootleg world that love to put that on. But in this case, that is absolutely genuine. This is a promotional copy, not for sale. But you can get one if you order all 3 books. So, you know, these books don't hang around for long. They are produced in very limited quantities. So my advice is going to be to anyone that collects, has an interest in Elvis releases on CD and Elvis's music in general, and anyone that loves discographies and loves a deep dive into things packed full of insight and information, tomorrow morning, if you haven't, or haven't considered doing it already, get yourself onto the website, which I'll put a link into the description, and get yourself a copy of these because they're fantastic. And I like the Elvis UK books so much that what I'm going to do for Sunday's episode this week is I'm going to do a full examination of everything that's been released physically from the Elvis UK team, because I do have every copy of the books they've released physically. There's one book that was released as a digital flip book only that I'm not going to really be able to talk about because I've never seen it. But in terms of their physical books, let's have a look at everything they've output, because it is quite an astonishing body of work, really. And having spoken to Gordon myself recently, I can tell you that it's not over yet. These guys aren't done yet, which is great news for all of us Elvis lovers. So there you go. There's my unboxing, and there's my super recommendation. Elvis UK Compact Volume 3. Great stuff. And don't forget this as well. So, once again, thanks Gordon and John. Thanks not only for producing such a great book, for sending me a copy. I really do appreciate you thinking of me. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it's something that you found interesting and has made you sort of whet your appetite to get yourself a copy and have a little look in some more detail, because there's some fantastic stuff in all 3 volumes. And as I say, at the weekend, I'm going to be delving into the back catalogue of the Elvis UK team. So I hope you're able to join me for that. Thanks for joining me today. Have yourselves a great weekend. Hopefully I'll see you on Sunday. But whatever you're doing, take care. Ta-da.
We'll meet you again. May God bless you. Adios.